I had no idea that there was a VHS, but I want a Blu-ray copy at least. Do you have that?
Yes, have a Blu-ray copy. If you order one, not only will I sign it for you, but I'll stick in a piece of Crom's costume
Ooh,
into
No,
the
you
show for
won't.
you.
No,
Yeah, I
that's
you
will.
won't.
awesome. That's
I
great.
will.
This is gonna be on. This is recorded, man. We're holding you to that.
Sweet. I've got it. I've got it. So how's it going, guys?
Hey,
Hey,
Rob, how you
bud.
doing, man?
Good.
Awesome to have you
Rob.
on, man. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice hoodie.
Yeah, it's
Oh
dope.
yeah, gotta wear the merch.
Absolutely, man. That's cool. Are you guys
Rob.
selling those, or was it just for cast and crew?
No, we are selling them. We just did a limited run on them.
Oh, nice, nice. That's cool.
Okay, Rob, first question. How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
Dude, how old do you think I am?
I don't know, man. Like you look like our age and everybody else we've had on, they're older. So let's go. Hold on, let me think. You're 35.
Close. I'm 39.
That's not bad.
Ah,
Not bad.
all
Not
right.
bad.
So what's that background? Because that is sick.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, so this is so I write a series of kids horror books.
Oh, nice.
So this is from the cover of the first book, which is called The Wild Man of Shaggy Creek, and it was done by Tim Jacobus, who did the art for the 90s Goosebumps books.
Oh, nice.
So it's
Wow.
kind of
So
I love
fun,
it.
funny thing, man. When I was watching this, and another funny thing is that I had watched this movie, The Curse of Crom, by the way,
Yeah.
a while back, like 2 months ago, and then John, like 2 weeks later, he was like, "Hey, yo, I think I got this guy. He can come on. It's The Curse of Crom," and I'm like, "The fuck! I just watched that." Like that's I was like, that's a cool movie. But while I was watching that, it really put me in the mind of like a Goosebumps. Like it put me in the mind of like a Goonies, Goosebumps, Scooby Doo,
Absolutely.
like the Willies. You remember that movie, The Willies?
I don't know if I've heard of that one, the Willies.
It's
Hang on,
a,
let
it's
me look
a,
it
it's an
up.
old
Yeah, very practical
yeah,
animatronic, you know what I mean? That
yeah.
just that style. Super cool movie. But yeah, it gave me that vibe too, man. The whole Goosebumps thing was like, I was like, man, this is like a really awesome long Goosebumps episode.
Yeah.
Like it was super cool, super clean, crisp. It was a really cool story, man.
Sweet, thanks. Oh, dude, yeah, that looks rad. The Willies.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, it's a fun one, dude. That's a real fun one.
It is. It's an old, like I think it's maybe late 80s, early 90s. I can't remember, but
Yeah, it says 1990 on it.
Yeah, that was one that
yeah.
like didn't do that well when it came out because like I think movies were kind of moving in another direction, but it was kind of it was stuck like mid to late 80s style, but it was coming out in the early 90s, so it was like movies were
Yeah.
kind of going in a different direction, and then it like kind of became like a cult classic type of thing.
It's got Sean Astin in it, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
sweet.
It's fun. It's definitely a fun movie. I really enjoyed that one. But like that's kind of what it not necessarily what it put me in the mind of, but it had that feel, if that made sense.
Yeah, and that was the goal with it, was we wanted to make an 80s kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those films that's like made for kids, but probably is a little too scary for kids
Yeah.
that traumatized us as kids, Gremlins, that type of thing,
Yes. And
Have you
which
have you have you always been like gravitated toward those type of movies? Like the you know, teen style horror?
Yeah, like I mean I frankly that's the kind of horror that I enjoy. Like that's
Mhm.
the 80s kind of PG where it's like made for kids, but it like you just watch it with your eyes closed because it's terrifying, right? So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Poltergeist, that kind of thing.
Dude,
yeah.
I got poltergeist vibes from this movie too. Like the
Yeah.
ending was so poltergeist. Like,
It's full of, I mean, we were stealing stuff from everywhere. It's just
yeah,
homage to all the stuff we loved growing up, right?
yeah,
So
Um,
absolutely.
So Stranger Things, that was one that I kind of, did you take anything from that right there? Or was that just,
Well, that's the thing. And I love Stranger Things. And I feel like we get a lot of comparison to Stranger Things, but I'm always just like, dude, there's nothing original in Stranger Things. All they're doing is
Yeah.
stealing stuff from the 80s like we were. Like
yeah.
that's
Right,
why you
right.
got that vibe.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
true.
so the reason why I say Stranger Things is because, I wrote it down right here. Harvey, um,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
he puts me in the mind of Steve the Hare Harrington. You
yeah.
know, like, well, for
The
one thing,
messy hair,
yeah,
yeah.
but
Dude,
his just he's funny. You know, the way he goes about himself just put me in the mind of Steve. I liked it.
yeah, that actor, Tanner Gilman, he's fantastic to work with. And that's just his hair. That's how he always does his hair.
That's
So
his hair.
he probably did that before Steve Harrington was ever a thing. Like that's just
Right.
what he does. And it's even
God,
bigger now. So
That's great.
I envy him. I've lost my hair. My hair's gone. Like I have no hair. So when I see somebody like that, I'm just like, I hate you.
agree. Mine is going. It's kind of bad in the back. So
So
Well,
obviously you're a big Halloween guy, I'm guessing, just of the season, right? Because I mean
oh
this had
yeah,
Halloween
celebrated
vibes.
every year.
Yeah. I mean this had Halloween vibes all over the place, man.
it did. It had a lot of H4, H5, like in the beginning, you know. Um,
Yeah. So funny thing. So I don't know. Are you familiar with the witching season films?
I've heard of
mm,
them. I have not watched them yet.
Okay. You should look up witching season films. They do like a bunch of short films. They've done a feature, and then they have another feature coming up. Their feature's called "They Live Inside Us." Anyway, they also do these ones called Halloween Atmospheres, which is just like it's like a half hour long of just like the best Halloween vibes, like
Oh
just
man.
amazing. Like it's so cool. You should definitely look them up. And so the guy, the president of that company, his name is Michael Balluff, and I don't remember how I got introduced to him, but basically I was in love with this stuff, so I was pulling from him. I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this like this beautiful kind of atmospheric shot, which is like a little decoration hanging in there. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I totally got that from Halloween 4." And I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
well that
Yeah.
yeah.
works out." But I love it because it's just got a
So
fun atmospheric vibe to it.
Yeah.
so all right, I'm looking it up right now. The witching season, the poster art, it's very similar to
Yeah. Did they do the movie The Witching Season or is it like a company?
So that's their production company, and then they
Gotcha.
have they have a movie. Well, it's like an anthology series called
Yeah.
The Witching Season.
so they did yours as well though, right?
Yeah,
I could tell.
I absolutely
Mhm.
love their Witching Season poster. And I was like, dude, like that's the vibe I want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Like,
one thing I see from them is that poster. And it's got the same vibe, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, so poster art is what
Mark
draws.
Schoenbach is his
Mm.
name,
Oh,
and you should
there.
follow him on Instagram. He does lots of fantastic posters.
Mark
Uh,
Mark, spell that last name. Is it Russian?
so you'll his handles saddest art designs. So SADISTART _
Okay.
But
Dope.
yeah, you'll dig his stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's sweet. Yeah, the poster for your movie too, man, is great. That's what brought me in. I was just it was either on Instagram or I think I was cruising just looking around on Peacock and I saw it and I was like, "Oh wow, I've never heard of this movie." And it
Hmm.
came out what, 2022?
Yeah,
So
it came
was it
out last year, mid October last year. The distributor
mm,
like was able to get it up. Like we were finishing late, so we finished the movie in August, and we had a couple offers from different distributors, and there was only one distributor that said they could get it out that year. Everyone else wanted to wait till this year. And so
gotcha.
our producers were like pushing for that because they want to make their money back. So
Right,
we're like,
right.
all right, let's do it. So we got it up mid October, up on Vudu, and then right after that it was on like Peacock TV and Amazon and stuff. So,
Right,
but
right.
but yeah, I mean it's done. Like I was loving our placement on Peacock because it would come up right after Halloween ends. It would be the
Oh wow.
the title that was suggested, and
Wow.
I was like, that's perfect placement.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
awesome.
That's
We couldn't
fun.
pay for
Yeah.
better advertising than that.
Yeah. So were you happy to get it out last year at that time, or do you think
Yeah,
you were?
yeah, it was. Yeah, it's done well for us. Like we're hoping with it being a seasonal movie that it'll just
Right.
continue to get addition like every year it'll get like a bump in views and stuff.
I
So
I think it will, and that's strange that you say that. Because I had never heard of this, heard of you or anything like that, and then
mhm.
it popped up on Peacock that after I watched it had to have been one of the Halloween films or something like that. It was a Halloween something because
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to get in that mood, like it's getting close to October, and
Yeah.
this was a month ago, and I'm trying to get more into that, feel. But I was watching a couple movies, and that popped up, and I was like, oh, this looks fun, and I put it on and I loved it. I really enjoyed it because it gave me that, like, I really appreciated the vibe, the Halloween vibe, and then like the fact that I can watch it with my kids. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of fun horror movies, but there's very few that are like legitimate horror movies that are okay to watch with your kids. Like
mhm,
there's like the Goosebumps movies, which are more just flat comedies and they're not really scary at all. And so
Yeah.
I really miss that like that 1980s vibe where it was just how brave you were, you
yeah,
know.
Yeah. And I don't even know if they knew it, but they were putting some stuff in there that was just like a little too much. You know what I mean? Like with like
It's
Gremlins and
yeah, it's a kinder trauma.
Beetlejuice. Yeah.
yeah.
Kinder
Yeah.
trauma. Like it's the best. It's the best.
It
Lots
is.
of
It is
lots
awesome.
of gooey juice and slime. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. 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 Like, just aesthetics in those movies too. In your movie, they were great. I mean, the vibes right from the beginning were awesome. Was this shot in Utah?
it was actually. So we
Okay.
we shot it mostly in my neighborhood.
Nice.
Oh,
Like they're
cool.
like it's all my neighbors' houses and stuff. The big field at the end was a horse pasture that was behind our where we were living. And so it was fun because we just kind of made it a community project and
Was
everybody
it
was like super
ev-
excited because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're filming a movie. Cool, cool.
That is
cool? Yeah, I
awesome.
was about to ask, like, did you go door to door? Like, hey, like I feel like it's hard to explain to somebody like what you're doing.
Yeah, like it was I was surprised how many people were just like, yes, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, you can totally do what you want. Like we got away with a lot of locations that if we were like a big production with a huge budget, we would have had to pay a lot of money for.
Right.
And we were able to save on our budget that way,
How
going
did
door to
you
door.
how'd you go about the budget? Did you do like a what was it? What's that
Did you
called, John?
like
Fan
crowdfunding
crowdfunding, yeah.
or was it
No, so I'd done some work with a company called Aerostorm Entertainment. They do a lot of like
Yeah.
fantasy stuff. They do a series called Mythica. They're in post right now on Mythica 6, I believe. Anyway, they had been filming a series with this for the CW out in Serbia, I believe, and they just finished the last season of that. It had been on CW for 4 seasons, and they just finished it, and they'd gotten back, and they had money they were sitting on, and I happened to pitch this idea to them like at the right moment where they're just like, oh, we need to do something because
Oh,
they're
that's awesome.
between TV shows.
Cool.
So they had the budget that we needed, and the price was right for them, and so they just funded it. They just came in as partners and basically just let me do my thing. They barely even showed up on set or anything, which is
Where
always
did
nice because then you don't have to worry about corporate oversight messing up your
Yeah,
vision.
you don't trip out. You don't got like the big Netflix wigs hanging over you, and
Yeah.
telling you what to do. I think it'd be better this way or this way. Yeah, that's nice. Especially for just the creative process, I think as a director or writer or producer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's definitely
Dude,
awesome.
you look like Quentin Tarantino. Like
Cool.
just looking at you with a straight face, you look just like like a young Quentin Tarantino. I love it.
Well, sweet. I did not aspire to be as good of a filmmaker as he is, but appreciate it. I'll take the compliment.
Um, how did you get started in this, like the filmmaking industry or whatever?
uh Dude, yeah. I don't know if that's even that interesting of a story. I went to school studying advertising. I always meant to get into marketing. But I just did film as just for the fun of it. It never struck me as like an actual career that I could pursue. But then right after school's over, I got a job at a broadcast station in their marketing department, but I was editing commercials, and I just never ended up getting a marketing job after that. I just kept doing that. So did a lot of commercial work, television editing. That was always kind of my bread and butter. And then I've just kind of slowly pushed my way into writing and directing. So hopefully do a lot more of that and less editing.
Was
Right. Yeah, editing's tough, man.
was yes it is. And was Curse of Crom the first? Is this your first? Or did you
No, so technically I've done two other features. My first feature is called Magellan. It's like a lowest budget sci-fi film you'll ever see. And then after that, in 2021, I did a feature called Tiger Tiger that's still in post, and that's kind of it's kind of a predator type movie, I guess, like Monster in
Ooh,
the Woods hunting a bunch of people.
Nice.
But that
you're
one's
a,
still in post production, so it's gonna be a little while till it's done.
you're
A
a
lot of
sci-fi
VFX.
fan.
I am.
I
I
love
am.
it.
So this is technically my third film, but the second one that's been released. And then I mean I've done a bunch of shorts and things like that as well.
And tell me the first one again, or the
It's
one
called
that's
Magellan.
Magellan. How do
And
you
that
spell
was
Magellan.
that?
that was the low budget sci-fi one.
Yeah, Magellan. And our budget, I kid you not, we did a sci-fi epic uh for it was 25K was our all-in budget. So that was like, yeah, it's ridiculous that we even pulled it off, but it's made so much money. It's been awesome.
That's
Really?
great.
Okay.
That's
Ah,
awesome.
is that streaming anywhere?
Oh yeah, it's on I think it's on Amazon still. It was on Amazon for a while. And then I know it's on Tubi for sure.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. Cool. Um, Tell me about Mary. Um, how did you pick her? Like how did this come about?
Uh yeah, okay. So as far as casting went, that actress, her name's Chelsea. I'd worked with her before and I just liked her vibe. Like she's just a really good straight-laced character. So I wanted to write a movie that I could cast her in. Same thing with Tanner Gilman, the guy who played Harvey. Like I really wanted him to be in a film. So I
He's a
literally
he's a good actor. I like him.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
she was as well. Like I'm not saying it, but
Yeah, and she's like she kind of sticks to the horror genre a little bit too.
yeah,
She seems like she's been in a couple other
yeah,
darker
it was
things.
kind of funny because she was on set. She was like, "This is probably the most uplifting film I've ever done." I was like, well, that's kind of odd, but cool. um, but yeah, so I wrote the movie for them as the main characters, and then I had also met Colin Cunningham, the guy who played Mary's dad, at a film festival, and he had wanted to do a project with me. So I called him up and I was like, "Hey, I know that you normally play like super crazy weirdo characters, but would you like to just be a dad?" And he was like, "Yeah, I've never played a dad before." So yeah, he came down, and yeah, that's how that all went down.
that's cool. What else did he play? Say it again.
Sorry, what?
Are you talking about Greg?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
What else?
he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Well, what?
he was a regular on Stargate SG-1,
Yeah.
and then he was also in Falling Skies for all 6 seasons. He's been in X-Files. He's been in pretty
Wow.
much any random sci-fi television show it's ever been. He's at least had a guest appearance.
Oh wow.
And then he's on Blood Drive,
Hmm.
and what was the other one? Preacher.
Okay. Yeah,
So yeah,
that's a newer one. What? How'd you just know him? How'd that come about?
so the Kanab Film Festival in Kanab, Utah. He actually lives in St. George now, and he attended the film festival, and we just kind of hooked up there. And he's just the nicest guy, like super enthusiastic, just a great guy to work with. So,
Cool.
but yeah, so he watched Magellan down there actually, and then was like during the Q&A, he's like, "Hey, by the way, if you need to cast me in anything, I am there." So I was like,
Nice.
"All right, sounds good."
Cool.
That's
Cool.
always a good feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great. So I have a
Uh,
question. I have a question about Harvey's sandwich. Um, Was that fluff?
Yeah, yeah.
It, frick
Fluff,
yes, dude. Yeah.
marshmallow fluff, and peanut
Yeah.
butter and bananas.
Now,
So,
was it actual fluff or was it like the marshmallow spread, quote unquote? Because like up here, I'm in Maine, so we
ooh,
we have actual fluff. And I didn't know if it was like around the country or not. I was like, oh my God, I think that's fluff. And I never
I
see
don't
it anywhere else.
I don't know. I couldn't answer that. I just whoever was
The
picking
jar
that
looked
up just
like it, dude.
grabbed it. So
The
I don't even know what brand it was.
the jar looked like it, dude. And I was like, no effing way, man. That's awesome. I don't even think I've ever seen that in a movie, period, to be honest with you. It's always a PB and J, right? It's always a
Yeah,
PB and J.
yeah. Harvey had never had a fluffernutter sandwich before, and
Yeah.
now he says that he eats them regularly.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It looked delicious. I was like, wow, I gotta buy me some fluff, dude. It's been a
I don't even
while.
know what the fuck a fluffernutter sandwich is.
It's a Taylor, fluff is a marshmallow spread. So instead of doing a peanut butter and jelly, you would do peanut butter and fluff, marshmallow spread.
So
And then you would do
it's like
bananas on
melted.
it.
It's a melted
Yes,
marshmallow.
basically,
yeah,
yes.
essentially, yeah.
And it is tasty, my friend.
I just eat it by the spoonful, so
Yeah, it's
it's
so
And
good,
delicious.
dude.
it comes in a jar like peanut butter and jelly, right?
Yes, it comes in like peanut butter, like it's you're when you come up to Maine, dude, you're having some. It's crazy. It's wild.
Nice.
Nuts. Yeah, that's not a
Absolutely terrible for you, but it is good, dude.
oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's that's not a thing down here. Like at least that I know of. I live in Tennessee and this is
Uh-huh.
not it's PB and J, and if you stray from that, you're kicked out of like the southern like portion of the United States. So
Dude, I'm
Are
telling you,
you
fluff is what's
picking up
up.
my squeaky chair? I feel like I'm like making a
No, I
ton of
can't
noise with that.
can't even hear it.
All right, good deal.
nah,
No, you're all good, dude. You sound great. You sound better than
sa-
some of our other guests. So
yeah, sound
Oh,
great, look
sweet.
great, everything. Quentin Tarantino all the way. Um,
Nice.
Tell me about Steve. Were you trying to get Dwayne the Rock Johnson or
No, no. So here's the thing. So Steve was his character was completely open. Like when we did a casting call for it, I had no preconceived notions on who this guy should be. Like I had no clue. I was just like, we just need a guy that fits the role. So we had like across the spectrum of all possible male actors audition for it. And we saw some really fun ones. But I liked I like the earnestness that Halem gave to the performance, and I was like, that's our guy. Like he's just excited to be there. And yes,
yeah.
funny story. So Halem has actually body doubled for The Rock a couple times.
That makes
wow.
sense. That makes sense.
It
So
look I was watching it and I'm not I don't mean to cut you off, but I was painting while I was watching. I paint shit every now and then, and we were watching this movie, and I kept looking up. I'm like, man, this guy looks just like The Rock, and like I loved it. Like it was like I'm like, who looks like The Rock? Nobody.
Yeah, and he was like
Nobody looks like The Rock.
he's like the quirky fun character you want to have in the group of friends, right? If you're gonna have the group of high
mhm.
school friends, like you got to have that quirky,
I
fun,
liked him. Like he
tension
was my
release guy.
favorite.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah, he
good.
was awesome.
Yeah,
His costume
he's
at the end is
awesome.
great too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think he did body doubling in the Jungle Cruise and then Hobbs and Shaw and then a
Wow.
Wow.
couple other things. He says he hates it though because the amount of calories he has to eat to body double for The Rock is like
Right.
insane.
That
And he
sucks. Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, that's
Like
wild.
we all want our flop or whatever the fuck y'all call that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That peanut butter and
Fluff.
peanut butter and fluff. Um, that
Tell us.
guy.
Oh,
Go ahead.
keep going, Taylor.
No, I'm just saying it's incredible how much he looks like that, like The Rock. It's just like, the whole time I was
Well,
watching
he is a body double, so it makes sense.
that, and that's cool that we know that now. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I want to talk a little bit about your monster here, man.
That's what I was wanting to talk about.
Mostly all practical effects here, which is great. Does have the super 80s vibe, which I love. Who created it?
Shake.
It is a dude named Chris Hansen. He's
Wow.
local. He's in Salt Lake. He got his background in LA. His claim to fame is painting 12 werewolves for Underworld in one night or something like that.
Oh wow.
So anyway, so he relocated to Utah, and he's kind of one of the 2 or 3 guys in Utah that actually does like practical stuff. And he just it was actually the way that Crom was written in the script was a little bit different. It was a lot more like Spectre like, a lot more ethereal. And he's like, no, man, I want to do like a big, like, big, bulky, creepy teeth monster with gooey, like just he wanted it to be like a physical presence. And I was like, okay, if that's what you want to do and you're excited about it, let's do that. And so he just went with it. And that's all his design. Like I barely had any input in it. I just saw it and I was like, dude, that's rad. Like I love it.
Now, was it a mask technically, or was it?
Yeah, it was actually. I have them up in the garage. I should have brought them down here so we could play with them. But we had 3 of them. One was just kind of a dummy mask that we used in wide shots, and then one was like a radio controlled one that the mouth would open and shut, and the eyebrows would move. And then we had like a fully articulated head for insert shots where it had all these cable controls, and you could like do the left and right mouth, the jaws, the eyes, the forehead, the cheeks and stuff.
Wow.
That thing was super fun to operate. I was living my best life playing with the remote control.
Oh,
like as we're filming, I'm like, and I could not stop like making monster noises the whole time. We're going like, rah, rah.
did you kind of rewrite the script a little bit to kind of incorporate that monster at all? Or did you just kind of be like, hey, we're just
no, it didn't require any rewrites. It just worked really well for it. So.
That's cool. Yeah, he looked awesome, dude. It was sweet.
Yeah, he did.
It was
Put
really
me in the
cool.
mind of like Pumpkinhead almost, like the way.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
pumpkin, a
Yeah,
little
like
pumpkin
that.
head, a little deadite.
Mm.
Just kind of that
Alien.
thing.
Like it was just it was a cool look all the way around. I loved it.
Yeah,
Give me some
I thought it was
like
awesome.
Halloween Town vibes as well, a little bit, which was cool.
Yeah.
Just that over characterized like being, you know what I mean? Just like big features and stuff like that. It was cool, man. Plus, I love you mentioned Hocus Pocus and Halloween Town in there because those are nostalgic to my heart, man. I love those movies. So good
Who
job on
doesn't?
that for
Those are
sure.
Great movies. Great movies.
And I also love that just food saves everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
For the most part, basically, right? Like,
yeah, it's
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. He's like, cupcakes? No, I'm out, dude. Peace out. Like,
tell me a little bit about that cryptid folklore, like that.
Yeah,
did you
write that, or was it based on anything real?
So the genesis of the whole project was I wanted to write a Halloween movie, like a Halloween themed movie that was based on actual folklore. And so like literally what we did is we went and looked at all the like old Irish traditions and things that have kind of evolved into Halloween as we know it now, and just figured out a way to piece them together as a single story. So like everything that we talk about in there, the folklore is all real. It's all actual stories like Crom Croc and trick-or-treating and all that kind of stuff like that. That's all real folklore. We just figured out a way to kind of stick it together so it's like one big legend.
Yeah, it's awesome. Plus you had one good jump scare in this movie, man, that got me when he comes from the tree.
Oh, that one got you good.
It got me, dude. I was like, "Ooh, okay, all right, here we go. Nice."
Yeah, my favorite is when the cat hand comes out of the grave.
That's a good one.
That one's my favorite.
That's a good one too.
So speaking of that,
spoilers, sorry.
Are you a Stephen King fan? Because that was like a Pet Sematary kind of vibe right there.
I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. I appreciate him, but like that's like I'm a little squeamish, I have to admit. So that kind of stuff is pretty heavy, but dude, I do appreciate him.
Stephen King did have its own little, the tomb itself had a Pet Sematary vibe for sure. That was cool.
Yeah. I don't like Stephen King either, so you're not alone.
you guys
I
like a very certain kind of horror, like a very specific kind of horror. And
you a Monster Squad fan?
Dude, I love Monster Squad. That's a great show. Great show.
Well, listen to them. Stephen King rules. So just listen to them, and we'll be all set.
No. What? So what got you?
I'm from Maine, baby. I gotta back up my guy. I'm from Maine.
I mean, I fully accept that, but like, not everyone likes Stephen King, John. Okay.
Only
Um,
not only 99.9% of us, but it's cool.
I know you're right. Um, what got you into horror? What made you want to do this right here, you know? What
Um, I,
inspires you?
well, honestly, I grew up watching lots of, like, as a little kid, watching tons of black and white horror movies. Like that was my jam, like 1950s horror movies. So
Okay.
like Creature from the Black Lagoon, like all that kind of stuff. The Thing
Nice.
from Another World. If you've never seen The Thing from Another World, I highly recommend it.
Isn't that the
Okay.
original thing?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's the
It's
yeah.
I
and
have that.
it's
That's a
so
great.
good. It's so good.
So an
Um,
actor in that went to my high school, which was cool. The doctor,
what?
he was also in The Thing, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
what's his name there? He's the guy that yeah, he's performing, what do you call him? Defibrillator. And
Oh, he
his hands go into the stomach and the
did
thing.
that. Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
so
sweet.
he was in The Thing from Another World as well, I'm pretty sure.
He must have been
Um
pretty young then, because let's see.
he was very young, and then he was pretty old in The Thing, obviously. Um what was his name, man? Uh Crap, I can't remember. But yeah, he grew up in Maine. He grew up like probably like 25 minutes away from where I live.
Uh-huh.
You go to like my high school's like thing, it's like notable people, and it's like uh him and Rachel Nichols, who was in like P2, and she was in the Amityville Horror
Uh-huh.
remake and stuff, and then him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's crazy, dude. I had no idea. But yeah, he was in both of those movies, which is cool.
Sweet.
Cool. Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that like The Thing is technically kind of a remake, on its own, from The Thing from Another World.
Yeah, and technically, the John Carpenter's version is a lot more true to the original book.
Is it? Hmm,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So, which is probably a lot of, visual effects related things to that, because back in the 50s, they didn't have the best visual effects.
Nah,
But
So,
but yeah, so I grew up with that, and then, but honestly, the two earliest films I ever remember watching is E.T. the Extraterrestrial
mm,
and Gremlins. Like Gremlins, like pre-kindergarten, I like loved Gremlins. It freaked me out, but I thought it was so cool. I probably watched that like 50 times when I was a little kid.
so good, dude.
yeah, I
So
agree.
I mean, that's kind of the thing that kind of, I don't know, I guess was what got me into this kind of stuff, and what made me want to.
Original clamshell 1982, still
Oh,
sealed.
sweet. Oh,
Oh
sealed.
wow.
Nice.
Still got the rebate on it.
Wow.
Sweet. I wonder if they'd honor that.
That'd be awesome. It's
So we
it's
have
worth a lot more now.
we have Curse of Crom on VHS
Oh,
here
Oh wow.
as
Who
well
did
too.
those?
There's a company called Media Home Entertainment, and I think we were actually the last thing that they did, because like a couple months later they like disappeared and went out of business. So I don't know.
So it's not available anymore, right?
Oh, I've got like 15 more copies of it
Can I
that are
can
like,
I I'm signing up for one, okay? Can I have one?
okay. Yes, you
he'll
can order
he'll
one.
he'll
You
he'll
heard it
pay,
here first. You heard it here first. I get one.
he'll pay you a lot too. This guy's got more VHS than you can imagine, and he makes his own, which is cool.
Oh, sweet. Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
not anymore though. My fucking company just shut down. So yeah. But I want to own both. I had no idea that there was a VHS, but I want to own a Blu-ray copy at least. Do you have that?
Yes, have a Blu-ray copy. If you order one, not only will I sign it for you, but I'll stick in a piece of Crom's costume into
No,
the
you
show for
won't.
you.
No,
Yeah, I
That's
you
will.
won't.
awesome. That's
I
great.
will.
This is gonna be on. This is recorded, man. We're holding you to that.
Sweet. I've got it. I've got it. So
That's
Dude,
awesome.
yes. All right. So all right, we're wrapping up here.
Yeah,
We're about to be
I got
finished.
one more thing to talk about real quick. Just real
Real
quick,
quick.
like, yeah. So I see the rumors are true. We're getting a part two, right?
Mm.
well, here's the script.
Yes.
Right
Oh,
here. Let's see if I can make it. I've disappeared. Oh, there it
Yes.
is. Yeah,
Awesome.
that is definitely a rumor going around. So we are talking with the financiers right now. Basically, we should know by the end of next week if they greenlight it or not.
okay.
If they don't greenlight it this year, then there's a really good chance we could film it next year, but I'd rather do it this year. And because
It's on
I'd
your
rather do it
mind.
now. So
Yeah. You want to get it done. I feel you.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Did you just finish the script, or was it something that you've already had done for a
uh,
while, rewrites,
so
all that stuff?
we've been working on it for the past year, just trying to figure it all out, and then we actually finished the script where I felt like it was to the point where we could actually film it. We filmed that, or we finished that. Me and my buddy Scott.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you and Scott both did this one as
Yeah,
well.
so we
Nice.
finished it about 3 days ago, actually.
oh, wow.
So but
Be
it's
nice
in
to
a good spot, and we could film it as is, and it would be great. We'll probably do a couple of revisions to it, but
right.
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, it'd be
So.
nice to start getting the film process going or pre-production going, and then actual production while it's still fresh in the head, you know. I'm sure
Yeah,
you finish that script and it's like you're ready to go. You know what I mean? It's like, let's
yeah, and
go, man.
I've been just because the limited time frame that we film it in, because we like to film it during October. Like we literally like we filmed it the week before Halloween and the week after for the first one, and we took one day off for Halloween, and
Yeah.
then the rest of the time we're filming, just so you get the actual vibe in there. So it's decorations people really have out, the leaves, all that sort of thing. It's awesome.
Are you staying in the same neighborhood?
For most of it, yes. So there's a scene that takes place in an old theater, which will be our
Ooh,
local 1980s almost shut down theater,
that's
which is
awesome.
also kind of a homage to Gremlins as well.
Definitely.
Oh,
And then the ending, oh man, I don't know if I should spoil it, but the ending may take us to Ireland.
Oh,
oh
wow,
wow.
jeez.
So,
Whoa, okay.
so yeah, it
Uh,
gets pretty epic.
I don't know,
Yeah.
just my style, but I don't know what's cooler, going to Ireland or filming in that old theater, because that
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah,
Welcome.
it's gonna be fun.
That's gonna
So.
be just you getting in there being like, oh my God, like this is gonna be friggin' awesome. Like that would be such a cool place to film, man.
Yeah, and
Yes.
there's it's mostly the original cast is will be in it. The characters are the main character has been switched up, so it kind of rotates, so we get some of the other characters more fleshed out.
Yeah.
And then Steve's uncle joins the party. His name's
Oh,
Uncle
nice.
Dwayne. Um, yeah. So,
Love it.
anyways, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So
Cool.
hopefully we get the green light next week, and then by the time this actually airs, we'll hopefully be filming it. So,
Man,
Dude.
that's awesome, man.
All
That's
right.
that's
All
good
right.
to
All right.
hear. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
thanks.
100%. Let's hear about how we order the VHS, the Blu-ray, the DVD, shirts. How do we do that?
So it's only available now. We did a Kickstarter originally to be able to sell the merchandise, but now you can order it through BackerKit, curse-of-crom.backerkit.com. Really
Perfect.
inconvenient name, but
It's
It's
all right. We'll put
super
it
inconvenient, but we'll figure it out. We'll make it
we're gonna put it right
make it
down
work.
here. We'll put it right on the screen down here, and we'll also put it in the
sweet.
description of the video so people can go get their merch, you can get the Blu-rays on there as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know. They've taken out a couple things, so. But
Well, we'll figure it out.
if anything's on there that you guys want that is, or if anything is not available that you guys want, let me know, and I know we've got a few extra ones, so we can get it to you.
Okay.
Awesome.
The
We'll
VHS
definitely
is
do
on
that.
there. Good deal.
Oh, look at
All right,
that.
cool.
That's sick, man.
Awesome. Awesome. So all right, so we have Rob York, The Curse of Crom, just a brilliant guy, looks identical to fucking Quentin
Tarantino's.
Tarantino.
And
But
we're hoping for part 2 here. So let's make sure we get behind that. And if you haven't seen Curse of Crom, The Legend of Halloween, make sure you guys go check it out on Peacock. I think it's on Tubi right now as well.
it's on
Um,
Tubi,
yeah,
Amazon,
everywhere.
Freebie, fucking it's everywhere. It's
Yeah.
ready to go.
Make sure you
Watch
guys go
it.
check it out. Have fun with your kids watching it. It's a great time.
It is.
It's really fun. Good Halloween vibes, good spooky season vibes. And
Mhm.
Rob, you're doing great, man. I really appreciate you coming on and joining us and talking this movie. And hopefully, if we get the part 2, you'll come on again. We can talk about that as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely. Appreciate you
Awesome,
having me
man.
on.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
definitely.
man. Perfect. You have a great night, man.
You too. We'll talk to you later.
All right, man.
Deuces,
Later.
guys.